What's up, y'all? It's Coach Jus10.
What's up, y'all? It's Coach Jus10. We're here again at the Sit Down Podcast. We have another episode. My boy Troy here.
What's going on, man?
How you doing, brother?
Not bad, man. How are you doing?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. So, I want you to start telling your story. Tell the people like where you're from, what schools you went to, sports, everything, and let's just hear a little bit about Troy.
Nice. Yeah, grew up in the Bay Area. Grew up in Richmond. Went to El Cerrito High School. Big basketball fan. Played basketball in 8th grade. That's when I started. Started coaching, in high school. Would have played basketball in high school, no question about that. But when I was a freshman, unfortunately, I got diagnosed with cancer. It's called osteosarcoma. It's a bone cancer that was in my left arm. Unfortunately, I had to do 9 months of chemotherapy. I had a bone replacement. My left arm, finished out with my last 6 months of chemo in high school. So unfortunately, I missed my whole freshman year.
So you didn't go to school at all your freshman year?
Nah, I did a little homeschool, but truthfully, I was just so sick, and being in the hospital all day, 5 days a week, that really just not much I could do. Just kind of focus on recovering and getting better at a time. So that was kind of tough. But thankfully enough, after I was in remission, that summer of 2005, I was able to go back to school my sophomore year. But unfortunately, another incident happened where I fell down the stairs in my parents' house, and my left arm, the one that I, previously had surgery on and, all that, started to get really weak and didn't have movement of it.
Wait. Hold on. I'm sorry. So the surgery was for?
The bone cancer.
Okay.
So they replaced my bone with a metal rod.
Wow. And at that time, you could still use your arm?
I could still use my arm. It was still functional. I was doing physical therapy because...
To work, I get to strengthen it and stuff?
Yeah. So I'll go in a little bit more depth about that. So the tumor was on my left humerus bone. So that's the bone that goes from your shoulder to your elbow.
Okay.
So they replaced that with a metal rod. Now, when they replaced the bone with the metal rod, I didn't have full range mobility of my shoulder. So, I couldn't move my shoulder higher than this. It could only go like level with my, with my shoulder, my arm.
Gotcha.
So physical therapy would kind of help me with more range mobility, but it was kind of hard to get dressed and stuff because I couldn't move my shoulder completely above my head. I couldn't fully straighten my elbow or my arm because the metal rod would it was not allowing my arm to fully straighten itself.
Wow.
So, through the whole time of physical therapy and occupational therapy after surgery, it was just focusing on how to live life this way, this is the new normal for me. So I had to kind of adapt to it. So, after I did physical therapy, all that for about 5 or 6 months, and I was in remission, I'm like, okay, I'm home now. This is the new normal. Let's try to get back to life the way it was. So I ended up going back to school, and everything was good.
How old are you at this point?
I was 15.
15.
And so I was a sophomore at El Cerrito. I knew I couldn't play ball considering my arm and my situation, but I was able to become the team manager. So, just being a part of that was just a blessing in itself, to just be able to travel with the team and, just be a part of something that was, as cool as that. It was all good, and then unfortunately one night I just fell down the stairs, just felt kind of dizzy one night, and I fell on my arm where, I had the surgery, and it was really tough that night to where I got really bad pain. I actually woke up that night crying in the middle of the night. It was so painful, and so I knew something was different. I knew something wasn't right. So a couple of days later, I go back to the hospital for a checkup. They say, hey, the tumor came back in your arm. Best thing to do is amputate it, so that way the cancer doesn't have a chance of spreading throughout your body. So the following year, this was they scheduled surgery for a month later, which was February 2006. So February 2006, I had my surgery for my amputation, and a lot more physical therapy came with that, just learning how to do things with one hand now and not just, two hands with one limited range of mobility. And so this, of course, made me miss the rest of my sophomore year. After January. And it was, again, a lot of physical therapy, a lot of occupational therapy. But, everything was fine. I was, kind of getting used to it. Still able to, be a part of the team. This was like towards the end of our season, like playoffs and stuff. But I was able to go to a couple games just to support and show people that, hey, I'm good, I'm here. And the team supported me more than I could thank them for, just, having my back and checking in on me. That definitely meant a lot. And so everything was good till the end of my sophomore year. And then that summer, the beginning of that summer, unfortunately, I just went in for a regular checkup where they did a full body scan, make sure everything was good. Unfortunately, they found another tumor in my chest, in my lungs. And, they said, we can do a successful surgery, remove them. And so I'm like, all right, let's do it. I kind of just had no choice at this point. So I had a successful surgery to remove the tumors. There was only 2 at the time.
When you would go in for these, do you still have to do like the checkups?
Yeah.
Is that super scary? I feel like I would be super like stressed out about something like that, man.
Yeah, it definitely was. I feel like a big part of what kept me strong was just my love for basketball. And I know that sounds so weird because it's going to be like, how can you think about a game when you're going through something that kills so many Americans? It's like one of the top leading deaths in America. But I felt like people never understood, like, this is what makes me happy. I feel like the key to life is being happy, pure joy in what you love to do. So for me, I love to play. I may not have been able to play on a team. I may not have been that good, but I found happiness in playing. And if I couldn't play on a team, the next best thing is coach. I figured just being a part of something that brings me happiness to where I can make a difference from the sidelines, being on the bench, supporting the team, helping them win, helping them find inspiration, that was enough for me.
That's dope. How do you, because you said you started playing basketball in the 8th grade, and then you got diagnosed in 9th grade?
The summer, so I started playing 8th grade year. So 8th grade, I believe it was, I want to say the beginning of the 8th grade. So we'll say October 2003. And then the next year, September of 2004 is when I got diagnosed. So I hadn't even been playing basketball a full year.
That's why I wanted to ask. So what do you think your love for the sport came if you were like actual time of playing? I'm sure you probably played like for fun, before 8th grade. But why do you think your love for it grew like that? So which you only playing for that short amount of time?
Probably my 2 things. My first game I ever fully watched was the Lakers Western Conference game against, I think it was the Sacramento Kings.
Oh, that used to be a battle.
Yeah, I was man.
I feel like around that time is when, because I always say, okay, I got to watch Jordan play a little bit. I was so young that I didn't know basketball. I knew basketball, but I didn't know it how I know it now. So I couldn't really appreciate it how I want to.
Yeah.
But around this time that you're talking about, I started to really, because I was playing that obviously, and I started to like really understand hoop and know how, you know what I mean? Like really know basketball. And I was like, yeah, this is dope. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
Nah, you good. I think for me, the biggest thing about it was, so I was a football fan growing up.
Gotcha.
I love football. But then watching football, I'm like, okay, all this anticipation builds up, watching this team go in the huddle, go into the line. They say hike, incomplete pass. Right, you got to wait like another 30 seconds, maybe a minute for the next play to occur. In basketball, it was like, you come down the court, crossover, boom, throw a lob, crowd goes crazy. Next play down, guy comes through, drives through the lane, dunks on somebody, crowd goes crazy. Yep. And it was just such an excitement back and forth where I'm just like, wow, like it's like nonstop, And of course I played before, but that just brought excitement to me. I really loved the passion that the fans had, that the players had. And my next door neighbor, he was a huge basketball fan too. So we used to play all the time. And then so kind of after watching that game, and just being in his backyard, and we would just have battles, man, going back and forth. It just slowly developed, man, to to something that made me feel like, man, I just want to be a part of this. You know, I love the joy of, you know, playing the game. And I guess it just came down to, man, no matter what's going on in life, no matter what happens to me, this will always be there, and there'll always be a way for me to be a part of it, whether I'm playing, coaching, being a manager, being a ball boy, whatever. There's always something, like always a job to do when it comes to this.
That's dope, because obviously I love basketball as well, and I just always sit back and think, man, like when I stopped playing, like I wasn't happy. I wasn't in a good space mentally. You know what I mean? Like towards the end of my career, and then like when I was done, obviously. And now that I'm back, you know, training, coaching and everything, and I'm back like, you know, in basketball, I really can sit back and say, like, I really do love and appreciate what it's done for me as well. You know what I mean? I've met I met you through basketball, obviously. I've met some of my closest friends to this day through basketball, and then even some of the guys who were not super close, but like, or in our generation, we all keep in touch. You know what I mean? Or even like social media, obviously, or when we see each other, we make sure it's like no love lost. You know what I mean? No time, no nothing. It's like we just click. It's like a fraternity almost. Yeah. And it's like basketball. Like my first time on an airplane was for sports. You know what I mean? I've never traveled anywhere until I was an adult, you know, if it wasn't for sports.
Right.
Literally all the way up through college, I had never been on an airplane for anything other than sports.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It's definitely just, you know, been able to, like you say, you know, open a lot of doors for myself, meet a lot of great people. And, you know, even as my story, you know, kind of, you know, takes turns for, you know, even more difficult challenges, it was still able to be there, you know, for me. So, you know, kind of going back to where I left off about having two tumors in my lungs, having a successful surgery, going back a couple months later to have another checkup, just full body scan to make sure everything was good. Unfortunately, they found 8 tumors this time in my lungs, and they had one that was attached to my trachea. And as they tried to cut the tumor off during surgery, I started to bleed internally. What? So yeah, they had to burn the tumor so I wouldn't bleed to death during surgery. And I remember waking up, you know, being in the recovery room, and I asked my mama, like, how'd it go? And she, you know, she kind of had this look like, it went good, but I could tell she was lying. I could tell she was lying. I'm like, come on, man, like, for real, like, what happened? And then she said, you know, not good. And then a little later, the doctor comes in and, you know, says, you know, there's not much we can do. We tried to cut the tumors off, but it was unsuccessful. We really have no other option except for chemotherapy, which I already did for 9 months. And I'm like, nah, fam, I'm good. So they kind of left the choice up to me. You know, they kind of said, well, what do you want to do? And I just wanted to be back in school. You know, I just wanted to be back coaching, just playing. And
again, you wanted to be happy.
Just be happy, yeah. Exactly. That's where I found happiness, just being normal, being regular. So my junior year this time, I go back to school. Everything was good. But, you know, still going through my treatments and scans every few weeks at the time, just to make sure nothing else pops up or whatever. And everything goes good for about a year. And then September of 2007 is my senior year now. They found another tumor in the back of my head. And throughout this whole journey, when the tumors were in my lungs and they let me go back to school, they had been sharing my story to doctors all over the world, basically saying, hey, can anyone take a look at these, take a look at this case we have in the Bay Area? Is there anything you guys recommend? And a doctor recommended radiation. He said, hey, this radiation could probably work to help the growth of the tumors. It can probably even cure them. So I did radiation a month later in October of 2007 for 2 weeks straight. And you know, didn't really feel a difference, didn't feel better or worse. And it wasn't until 2 months later, December of 2007, when I was told, my parents were told, not me, that I had about 6 months to live. I had basically a regular scan, full body scan, and at the time now I had 9 tumors in my body. I had the 8 in my lungs, the one that was attached to my trachea, and the one on my head. And they basically were saying, hey, these are active tumors, He's not choosing to do chemotherapy. Tumors have been multiplying over the years, and we don't give him a life expectancy to surpass 6 months. I was told I was going to lose my vision, my strength, my hearing, and eventually I just wouldn't survive it. They were just expecting me to slowly pass, as time went on. But fortunately enough, I was still able to be back in school, kind of doing what I had did before, just being a part of the basketball team, playing, and it led me, for over 10 years until I beat cancer December 2018 after change in my mindset, the things I was doing, the food I was eating, after doing a lot of research, decided to just make a change. And fortunately enough, I've been able to overcome the odds and beat the obstacles that were given to me, and just very fortunate enough to be in the position I am today.
I remember when I would be in college and I would be going through stuff. Like I said, I was in a dark space, you know what I mean? So I would be going through stuff, and I would make certain posts on, Facebook or whatever it was at the time. And I remember you would always message me like nothing but positive things. And it was like I used to always, we weren't never super close, but I used to always, like, whenever I would be going through something, I would think about you, or I would like randomly go to your Facebook, because you always post a lot of positive things as well. And I just wanted to say thank you for that, you know what I mean? Because that,
Of course, bro.
that helped me. Like, obviously I didn't know the details of your story, but I kind of knew, I've been knowing you for so long, I kind of been following, and keeping up with you. But
yeah, of course, bro. And when people always say, the biggest question I've always got is, what kept you going? Obviously you didn't do chemo, so it's not like there was a one pill fix it all type of regimen I did. It just came down to me finding what made me happy. And obviously being a part of my team in high school was great. I credit my family, my friends. That was just amazing, the support I got from them. So yeah, I think being a part of the basketball community as well, that's definitely helped me out a lot. And personally for me, one of my favorite times of watching the game wasn't even watching my own team play at El Cerrito. It was watching Mac's 32-0 run when I was a senior. I think back at that time, the varsity games used to be at 3 o'clock, so I used to leave school. I used to leave school at like 12. Like, me and my boy, we used to leave at lunch. We used to like tell security, like, hey man, like, I got a doctor appointment, you know what I'm saying?
That's
like,
hilarious.
I didn't mean to use that as an excuse, but man, like, we used to go to those games, and this is like, one of the most iconic seasons, if not the most iconic season in the Bay Area ever. Sure. And, we watched some close games. I mean, when Memo hit the 3 at Ohio, and the play before, Dame had hit a 3 at the top of the key, to get the lead. So that game was crazy. I think Fremont High at Mac in overtime. Yep. Dame got that tip in. There were so many close games.
Skyline that year, they almost lost. Kwame was at the free throw line or something. They almost lost. I think Will or Dame fouled out. But yeah, I was watching all those games too, obviously.
Yeah, man. And those were just the funnest games, because it just showed like the passion that, that the players had, and how far it can carry them, I mean, you being a coach at Mac now, that's tough, man. And Mook, playing at, Weber with Dame, Memo playing at Chico, Will, making it to the NBA. I mean,
when I first got the Mac job, somebody sent me a article, and Mac is top. I think it's like number 24 most iconic high school in the world, or something like that. And just with all the alumni, like obviously Bill Russell went there and stuff like that. And that 32-0 team. Imagine if, now we're in like the content era is what I call it. Everybody like creates content, obviously, with documentaries. Yeah. Imagine a documentary on that team with everything Coach Mo went through. That team was special, man. That team was special. And then we were good my next year too, but that 32-0, like every year, like watching those close games where it was just like, it feels like the basketball gods were just with them at all times. Like I said, Memo hitting the 3, like the tip in from Dame at Mac, against Fremont, the Skyline situation, like so many close games, you know what I mean? And for them to just go undefeated, and that was dope.
And what's crazy is, when you look at their schedule, the teams that they were supposed to be, quote unquote, lose to, like Dominguez for the state,
Right.
I'm like, they were smacking. The closest games were against their homegrowns as well. You know what I'm saying? Like the people that are in their backyard.
Yeah.
Those were the dog fights, man.
That's when the OAL was still like the OAL. You know what I mean?
OAL.
And that's why I wanted to get into coaching. When I said I was gonna go back into coaching, like you said earlier, when I went away from basketball, I was like miserable. You know what I mean? And getting back in the hoop, it made me I was in my happy place again. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna give me a high school job.
That's dope.
So I started thinking, and my dad was just like, "Won't you try the OAL?" Because he said Skyline. I think Skyline job is open. I was like, I wouldn't do the OAL unless it's MAC. So then I started inquiring, and obviously it happened. Just to sit back and just soak that up. It's like, damn, I'm really the head coach at MAC.
Yeah.
I used to be their ball boy at MAC when I was like a little kid. Because my uncle was the coach there.
Okay.
My Uncle Beatty. So it's just crazy, bro. You know what I mean? Like with all that history. And then the good thing is a lot of alumni now are super supportive. You know what I mean? Like now when I'm coaching, this last year, it was a tough year. You know what I mean? But I feel like we got better. Trying to change the culture. You know what I mean? But now when I'm looking into the stands as I'm coaching, I see a lot of the same faces I saw when I played there.
Basketball can do so much for you, man. And the support I got from the basketball community, from you and all those guys, the coaches, it just means everything to me, and I feel like that's what made me who I am today. Being able, from me being a coach now, me playing in adult leagues. I went to an overseas combine and played against professionals.
Oh wow, really?
2 summers ago. I didn't go into it with the intent of, I know I'm going to get a contract, but for me it was just a thing to get off my chest saying, man, I just want to do this. I want to show people that I could do anything with a positive attitude. And
That's dope.
So it was cool, man. I didn't mean to get off topic, but
no, that's good.
I went to Vegas. It was a 2-day combine. There was about 130 players there. And man, I mean, professional, athletes were there. I mean, coaches from the NBA G League, a lot of coaches from overseas. And, I got a lot of great feedback from a lot of coaches. It definitely told me I had a lot of talent, things I'm good at, things I need to work on. But it was good to just be out there and just compete, and show people that anything's possible.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's dope.
The basketball world is just, as small as it is, it opens up a lot of doors. And so that's what really attracted me to the game.
I remember last time we talked, you were talking about, do you still play at all?
Here and there, man. I mean, I play in a couple adult leagues, before the pandemic started. But yeah, I definitely still play, for sure.
What about the, what was it called, the team you were playing with? That you guys were traveling with? Do you still do that?
Yeah, so so the team AMP1.
AMP1, that's
Yeah,
what it was called.
that's.
I didn't
yeah,
want to
that's-
mess the name up.
No, you're good. Yeah, that's a definitely big part of my life right now, considering everybody on the team is an amputee. My boy Travis actually came through and watched one of our events and got some really good footage of it, and it was awesome.
Really?
Yeah, we had an event in San Francisco that we do with UCSF and the Golden State Warriors.
Chris Formaker. I'm from Elk Grove, California, which is just south of Sacramento. I lost my leg when I was 8 years old, when I had cancer, and so they went through and did chemotherapy, and then they decided the thing that would help the most is to amputate. I've been playing basketball since I was 5, so 8 years. If you're going through something like this, don't focus on the bad stuff. Focus on everything good that's happening in your life.
We partner with the hospital, with the Warriors, and they bring in kids and adults who are amputees. And they bring in us as the basketball team to kind of showcase our talents, of what we can do on the court. And a lot of my teammates, or every teammate, had a different injury, something that kind of prevented them from, having both arms, both legs. And so one thing that brought us together was basketball. So we had a lot of events actually scheduled for this year. In April, we were supposed to go to Arizona and do a Ricky Rubio camp with the Phoenix Suns. The end of April, we're supposed to go to New York to do like a charity basketball game. Next month, we're supposed to go to Arizona for a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. In August, we're supposed to go to the Nike 3-on-3 in LA.
Oh, wow.
So we had a lot of stuff planned for this year. Unfortunately, due to the coronavirus, it's not able to happen. But as of right now, the one event we do have that is not canceled, we have another Nike or another 3-on-3 basketball tournament in October, which will be in Phoenix, Arizona. And it's really like a way to bring the amputee community together for athletes who want to play, have a platform to play on, and not feel like left out, So.
I had a teammate when I went to Amador Valley who, Kevin Lau, you know him?
Yeah.
He got to like meet the president at the time.
Yeah.
They did the movie on him. I think it's, what is that movie called?
The Long Shot?
The Long Shot.
Yeah, I saw that.
So there was like I was in it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was in it.
I didn't get to watch it because the platforms, I think I just couldn't find the right platform.
What's crazy is, so that season, it was my junior year, we had a camera guy following us everywhere. So like on the bus and everything. Yeah, I was crazy. I was in college and one of my assistant coaches had went to a premiere. I haven't seen the movie either because I think they were doing like premieres around the country.
Yeah, like select places. Theaters and stuff like that.
And I get a text from my assistant coach and he's like, "Hey, I'm watching this movie and you're in it." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, one of my buddies. I'm watching the premiere and it's about a guy." And he told me, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I remember that." He was super, super cool, man. I haven't spoken to him in years, but
yeah.
He was good too. I mean, obviously he was so damn tall and
he
used to I think he went Division I and everything. So he was pretty good.
Yeah.
And I remember the guy from Florida. Didn't the guy go to Florida that had like one hand or something?
Yeah. So obviously being a part of AMP1, we are very intact with like the amputee community. So I myself don't have one. I mean, obviously I talked to Kevin before via social media and stuff, but never met him in person and whatnot. But he has a big attachment to our team, AMP1. He's never played with us. He has a life now. I think he just got married recently, and he does a lot of great things, with his speaking engagements and whatnot. But we've told him there's a jersey waiting for you. So anytime he wants to participate, he's more than welcome. And then Zach Hotskins, another great athlete who was born with one hand. I think when he played at Georgia in high school, he led the league or he led the state in like 3-point percentage or 3-point shots or something. Mm-hmm. He was a shooter. I think he still is a pretty good shooter. Right. But yeah, he got a scholarship to University of Florida, and again, we have a jersey for him too.
Right.
So it's pretty amazing to see what amputees are able to do, and just how attached to the sport we are. Mm-hmm. So for me to be a part of that team, AMP1, it's definitely been a big blessing to do our events and meet a lot of great people that we've met before.
Are you still coaching right now?
Yeah.
You are? What ages do you coach?
So right now I coach 5th grade.
That's fun.
Oh man, it's a blast.
So you coach 5th grade and what else?
9th grade.
9th grade.
Yeah, that's a little more challenging.
Tell me about it.
Well, technically, they're 9th grades now. They just finished 8th grade.
Is it like a travel team?
Yeah, so it's right over here in Walnut Creek for MVP Flight.
Oh, you coach with Flight?
Yeah, I just started actually.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah,
man, their teams are pretty good.
Yeah, they got a really, really good program.
They've been around since I was young.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure probably longer than that, but
yeah, they really good program. I've always had a really good relationship with the coaches, and Phil Doherty, one of the founders, recently got diagnosed with cancer not too long ago. So I had a good talk with him, kind of sharing my story, some of the remedies I was doing. And yeah, they brought me on board with welcoming arms, and it's been a blast. Got a really good 5th grade team. It's definitely probably been one of my favorite teams to coach. And 8th graders, you know, they're about to be in high school, so they have that ego right now, like, hey, coach, you can't really tell me what to do. Like, I'm going to be in high school, trying to be too cool. I'm like, don't play that with me. Don't play. I've been there. We all been there, bro. So
it's crazy coaching the little kids. Like, I don't remember ever being that small playing basketball. You know what I mean? Like,
and the stuff that they can do, I'm like, well, I know.
They're so advanced, man.
I started late, but I've coached young teams before that are not as elite as, you know, the teams that Flight has. So I'm like, you're 9 and you're doing that? That's crazy. Like, I just get amazed by, like, the stuff they can do and just how passionate they are. And it's not like, you know, I've dealt with, you know, kids where they didn't really like it, but their parents wanted them to play it, and it kind of felt forced on them. But then I've also dealt with kids who really love it, and it's like, that's what I love to see, you know, the kids who really have the passion and it's engraved in them. And you don't really have to coach them too much, you know what I mean? Like, they know what to do. So
you mentioned the remedies that you can you speak a little bit about that? Like, how did you? Because I remember we were talking about it earlier off camera. How did you kind of get into like?
So basically, watching a lot of documentaries, reading a lot of articles about people who've battled cancer and different types of diseases, and so, you know, me given 6 months to live, it was kind of like, okay, I could accept this and just live life as long as I can with cancer, which I had done for a while. I never really made that effort, but being that there were so many documentaries coming out about, you know, like one was like Forks Over Knives, and then recently The Game Changers and What the Health. I mean, I understand these are just opinions of people, and that's great, but everyone's different, so what works for you may not work for me. But I just wanted to try something that was going to benefit myself and my body. So I just did my own research and found foods that made me feel good, that, you know, I could benefit from. And so that kind of transitioned me into starting I did vegetarian diet. That's what I did for about 3 years. After my second year is when I beat cancer. But I also incorporated like CBD oils and just meditating, working out every single day, praying, just having a better outlook on life, just having a good mind and body, you know, mindset, I feel like made the difference. And so that's kind of what led me to kind of making those remedy changes. Like every single morning I had lemon and turmeric, ginger tea. In the winter I had cold tea. In the winter I had hot tea, and like in the spring and summer I'd always have cold tea. But it was always the same ginger and turmeric and lemon. Like did
you have to try a bunch of different ways and then find what you liked, or did you just find something like off the bat and it worked for you?
I pretty much found that everything that I liked I was already eating, but just like different ways. So like bananas and strawberries are big for me, but instead of going to get a Jamba Juice where it's with a lot of sugar and juice, I'll just make it at home and just put water and lemon, like Whole Foods, you know, and make the same smoothie, but just more healthier for you. So just those kinds of things that I was doing definitely benefited a lot. Like spinach, I never was a big spinach guy, but put it in a protein shake, you don't even taste it. Add like some almond butter, some chocolate protein powder, and add some berries to kind of like absorb like the flavor a little bit more. It just made a big difference. So yeah, it was pretty cool to try new things and to realize I can still eat the same things that I like to eat, but in a healthier form.
You said you after 2 years you beat it, and then you were vegetarian for another year, right?
Yeah.
Like, did you start feeling better? Like, did you feel like it was working that whole time, or were you just like, I'm just gonna do this and see what happens?
I definitely felt a lot better. My joints felt better. You know, obviously me playing basketball and having one hand, I needed a lot of energy. I needed a lot more strength, and, you know, people, you know, obviously being on the court, I always hear force him to his left. So I had to make sure that they couldn't stop me going to my right. So I had to like, you know, work on like my strength and, you know, obviously ball handling and stuff, and energy was a big part of that. So I had to eat a lot of foods that gave me a lot of energy so I can have the stamina. Also, you know, playing defense, you know, I mean, got to be, you know, quick, you know, and so, yeah, that's pretty much what my main focus was on, just eating foods that can not only benefit me as an athlete, but also just as a person, you know, waking up, I want to feel energized. I want to feel like I'm ready to go, like tackle the day. And So that definitely helped out a lot.
That's dope, man. Well, the footage you said that Trav got for you, is that out? I want to see it, and then I want.
Yeah, it's on my Instagram. It's on our AMP1 page. What I'll do is I'll tag you on our basketball team's page.
Okay.
So yeah, we have a Instagram page, and so there's a lot of footage out there that we have. And we've invited Travis to a lot of events that we had coming up, but unfortunately, COVID, kind of, took a toll on everybody. So, but we're just trying to use this as a opportunity to make us stronger as people. Learn how we can take better care of ourselves, and things we can do for the community to make a big impact. So, we're just going to try to keep moving forward as positive as we can.
You please, in the future, any events, obviously when the world opens back up, can you invite me? I want to support any way I can. I want to obviously come to experience it, but even if I can't be at the first one, any way I can support, I want to definitely play my part in that, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
so just let me know whenever you figure out, you guys next. You have the 3-on-3 coming up. Where's that at? In October? October,
the last weekend of October, in Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to Arizona.
Yeah, it's hot, man. It's
the next local one.
All right, and as far as I know, next year, February, at the Golden State Warriors Oakland practice facility.
Downtown?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll be there doing another amputee basketball clinic.
Oh, okay. I'll try to make sure I get there.
Yeah, I'll definitely keep you posted when we have dates, locked in and all that, for sure.
Please do. All right, brother. Thanks again, man, for stopping by again.
Appreciate it, man.
Getting this done, man. Definitely want to have you come up again. Let you know later on, talk about some more stuff. I'm pretty sure if you have so much going on and, keep putting your message out there in your story, Obviously, we talked once before, and it's already – I learned new things today. It's just crazy how that works.
Yeah.
But again, thanks for coming up. I appreciate you.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.